How's it going, everyone? It's Derek Lamrue, and today we're gonna do a little Christmas edition of a Q&A. All right, here's a question I actually get asked a lot. How do you transition from weddings to commercial? As someone who started in weddings, I think my bridge into the commercial world was actually just shooting a couple commercials myself. Luckily, I got a little bit of money for and was able to shoot them for a real client. And then I started using those opportunities of shooting more commercials for local businesses, local brands, and started putting those in my portfolio, built out a section on my social media and my website, and started saying, hey, I not only do weddings, but I did commercials. And to me, weddings were the opportunity to learn new gear, learn new lighting, learn new camera techniques. And I kind of use weddings as my practice to start shooting commercials. Do you have any camping plans for 2023? Nothing set in stone yet, but my hope is that we'll be traveling out west with the trailer. Not sure if I can make that work given the fact that it's like a 30-hour drive to get out to Calgary or Vancouver. We did out east last year, my wife Sarah and I. I'm hoping that we can do out west this year and take our time, go through the Canadian side, and then come back down through the US side. What was the best TV show you watched on Netflix in 2022? Ironically, I watched Breaking Bad for the first time in 2022, though that probably is not my favorite show. I would say Stranger Things, that's probably gonna take the lead on that one. Favorite documentary was The Tinder Swindler, and I just went to see Avatar the other day, so that probably takes favorite movie of 2022. Do you do outbound sales for your production company, or how do you land most clients? I own a marketing company. I also own a production company. I also freelance direct. So the business side of how work comes in is probably a little bit different than most. I don't have a salesperson on our team. Most of the work that we get comes from two sources. Either referral based, because we have a long history of existing relationships with clients, or we get a lot of traffic through our website and through our Google listing as well.
So, no sale.
Bit untraditional. We don't really advertise. We don't really market. We don't have a sales team. We don't take on a ton of work through either company because we like to focus on projects that either have an impact or resonate with our team. Why did you start a rental company? That's all it says. Why did you start a rental company? For two reasons. One, I have way too much film gear, so it was a way for me to justify owning so much film gear. The second was where we are geographically located in London. There's no other options for filmmakers. So when I first started, my options were to buy it or to drive 2.5 hours to get it. So the reason why I decided to start a rental company was so I could give other people, other filmmakers, the resources that I wish I had to create bigger and better things. I saw your truck at Profusion. Sick, man. How did you get into that? The truck kind of served two purposes. It served productions, it served camping. I've also really always been a truck guy, and this year I decided that I was going to kind of outfit it for off-roading and camping. So I worked with a couple different companies, purchased a bunch of different parts, and built out a truck that could be used for camping, could be used for off-roading, and it could be used as a camera chase car or a production car on a film set. What camera do you use? Well, I'm filming this video on a 6-year-old Blackmagic Ursa. I used a Canon R6 almost the entire year, but thanks to Felipe, I purchased a bunch of Sony cameras, and I think that's gonna be my new camera going forward. Whether that be the A7 IV or the FX6, I'm not really sure. On production, I mostly use ARRI cameras or sometimes Red. But really, I'm not really big into cameras or specs. I think just whatever makes sense, I'll use. Thoughts on vertical video as a filmmaker? I think vertical video has a purpose, and it's definitely not going anywhere. So as a creative who's used to shooting vertical video, not as much, and mostly shooting horizontal video, it's hard to make something that's vertical because you have to shift your mind, think about different composition and different ways to tell a story. But ultimately, I think where the story is being told and how it's being told is the most important. So if the best way to get that story out there is through social media, and that means vertical video, then I think vertical video has a great purpose. But if you're looking for a Netflix show, or you're looking for a theater, or you're looking to watch something maybe on YouTube, there always is going to be a place for horizontal traditional video. I myself probably lean more into horizontal video, but I do find myself scrolling through Instagram often. I'm struggling to get out of being a one-man band. How do I get on sets with larger crews? You have to put yourself out there and network. You have to be willing to go out and PA or work on another production. You're likely gonna have to take a step back and go work on another production set. Or alternatively, find some other people that are in the same boat, they're all one-man bands, and be able to work together and create a larger crew. That's ultimately what I did. Don't think of those other filmmakers as your competition. Think of them as people that you can collaborate with and grow. Have you ever had creative burnout? If so, how do you overcome it? Yes, is the short answer. The long answer is, I talked about this on the Apple Box podcast, and you should listen to that episode when it comes out. Creative burnout is definitely something that I know I've experienced, and I think many people do experience it. I think the best way to deal with creative burnout is to make sure you're not taking on too many projects and you're not saying yes to too much. But go check out the Apple Box podcast. I had a pretty good conversation on there about mental illness and creative burnout. What was your favorite project of 2022? Tough to say. I mean, learning to do some car stuff this year was super interesting. I also have a new project coming out very soon for a sports ad. I think the most impactful project I shot this year was about 12 months ago, and it was called The Forgotten Flame. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's the story of someone with dementia and how they deal with that, and it has a personal tie to me and the DP, Nick Pilecki, and I think that one is probably my favorite project for 2022. What was the most interesting piece of film equipment that you used this year? So back in March, I want to say, I made the very late night spontaneous decision to airlift a crane for a shoot that was happening 2 days from the day I ordered it. We used that crane for the shoot, and I think that was probably the most interesting piece of gear I used this year. That wraps up the Christmas edition of a Q&A. If you guys have more questions, just feel free to DM me, and I'm happy to do another one of these. Merry Christmas. All right, that wraps up the Daffy Duck version of this video. Called Forgotten. What's up this... starving.